Hello, LA. I'm just checking if everything goes well. I have no idea if this is actually going to work right now, but when you don't try, you will never know. I'm supposed to be live on Instagram as well. I have no idea if that actually works. It's something new. Technology is not my absolute strongest suit, but I've done live streams in the past on YouTube, so we somehow we'll figure it out. So, very awkward, very new, very strange, but very important. Timeless Session is something that's been very passionate, very important to me already for the last couple of years for many different reasons. I will explain that maybe at a different point in life. But what happened yesterday really struck me personally, many friends, many acquaintances, and obviously a lot of people in the whole world. Charlie Kirk was assassinated on a college campus in Utah. And all these emotions in the last approximately 24 hours or a little bit more with people, with text messages, conversations, phone calls. I've gotten phone calls and messages from people that I haven't been in touch with for a long time. These people have nothing really to do, nor do they care about politics, are of neither side, and it struck something in them. The feeling is like we lost a brother, a friend, a partner, a son, a father. And there's no words that can really describe the feeling that I personally have right now. And to be honest with you, sitting right here, right now, oh, I feel a whole lot of fear. Without a doubt. It is so uncomfortable for me. Uncertainty, all of those things. You can probably tell. You guys seem pretty smart. But because of Charlie Kirk, there is a fire inside of me, especially the event yesterday, that just refuses to go out. You can say what you want about the man. I'm going to share a couple of things with you because that is exactly what today's live stream podcast show is all about. Whatever you want to call it, I don't care. I don't care about labels. Say what you want about the man, but you cannot deny one thing, and that is that he was very brave and very courageous. He walked into rooms, he walked onto campuses where he knew he would be hated. He stood on stages where every word that he spoke would be twisted, dissected, taken apart, attacked from top to bottom, from front to back. And still, he showed up. And that is bravery. Not the absence of fear, but the strength that he carried to stand tall in spite of it. He also carried that inner fire. Whatever's going on over here, whatever the people are talking with me about, we're going back and forth, this emotion, this pain, this sadness. It's someone who just wanted to have a conversation and prove him wrong. He carried that inner fire like nobody else. And he lit fires within so many others. And tonight, that's what I feel. In a way, a duty to pick up that flame. We live in a world where it's easy to sit back, social media, become keyboard warriors, to judge. We've become desensitized. It's easy to scoff, tear down, mock. But Charlie lived out loud with conviction and with a heart full of fire that refused to die. That kind of bravery leaves a mark, and it has left a mark on me. And I didn't even agree with some things that he spoke of, but it is what he stood for. That is the most important thing. So, yeah, I feel fear, but I'm going to keep speaking. And uncertainty that hangs over us all. That is probably one of the things that people want in life. They just want certainty. And oftentimes it's the financial certainty. But we don't need to bow to uncertainty, because when someone like Charlie Kirk, he gives everything, literally, his last breath, to stand for what he believes, then all of us must come together and do one thing. We have to rise. It is challenging. I have a rock in my throat. I've never met the guy, but he spoke like he spoke with people like it was genuine. It was honest. I'm going to share a couple of things because I want people to see who he really was, what kind of person he was, and then we could potentially debate about a couple of things. But what my mission is, my purpose, passion, I can't even explain it, but one is to motivate people. Another point is to try to instill on people to dream big. And this again has to do with being courageous, because all your dreams can come true only if we have the courage to pursue them. And Charlie Kirk, I got to say, he was that number one man with courage. He was the most courageous of all, time after time. He stood up, he was in that tent, arguing, debating, chatting with people. Some chats were positive, some chats were not so pleasant. And that last conversation he had, people who didn't agree with his opinions, with his thoughts, with what he stood for, that they couldn't stand it. These people were not, I will call it, they were just not man enough. They were weak individuals. They shut him up because they just couldn't hear the truth. Oftentimes, when people want to shut you up, it's because you're speaking truth. His life reminds me that courage is contagious. And now it is our turn to be courageous. And I don't even honestly know to how many people I'm speaking. It's probably just a handful. And it doesn't matter. But I hope that I can inspire one person or two or three, that I can share positivity, that I can share something that people will not fall down, that they can lift each other back up. To not make it too tiresome or boring, literally, for some people, I'm going to share a couple of videos that definitely touched me, struck a nerve, and I don't know, maybe we can continue the conversation. But one of the biggest parts that he wrote in 2013, over 10 years ago, and it just moves you. He wrote, "Good men must die, but death can't kill their names." You feel the heartbreak now just looking at this. Just imagine the heartbreak from his family. He had so much courage. He walked with God, with Jesus in his hands. I want to talk about that too for a moment, because he was a very spiritual, a very religious man. And a lot of people cannot associate with that, don't want to associate with that, but it doesn't matter. This country was built on Christianity, if you like it or not. These are just facts. Good men must die, but death can't kill their names. Charlie Kirk will go down in history as a modern founding father. The amount of people he has brought together is unheard of. And without trying to sound like I'm affiliated or I would side with a political party, it is more about people being open to the conversation, because another statement of his is, when we stop the conversation, that is when violence happens. And when people get or try to get shut up, the violence did happen.
How do you want to be remembered? If I die, everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith.
I don't know if you know this, but everyone dies. It's important to remind yourself of that. That you face God, the judge, and he's going to list everything you did wrong in your life. It's going to be a long sentencing hearing for me. We get justice, which is hell, because that's what we deserve. Mercy, which is less of that, which I'll allow the theologians figure out what that is. Or grace. What is grace? Grace is something so unique, so different, so profound. Which is, as soon as the sentencing is about to be ushered in, someone comes in and says, no, I will serve that prison sentence for him. I will go into the prison cell for him or her so they can live forever. That's grace. You didn't earn it. You didn't check boxes for it. You didn't go park cars for a ministry and that gets you extra points to go to heaven. None of that's true. It's that it's equally accepted for all people that allow Jesus Christ to be your Savior, the Savior of the world, to be born anew and to be completely and totally renewed. That's a gift that we must try to give all people in the world.
I mean, I've had an unbelievably blessed life. Been doing this now, it'll be 12 years on June 5th.
Such a young man to do it.
So young.
Yeah, so praise God. I mean, I've been all across the world. I've met with world leaders. I've flown in Air Force One, got to know a president. I have an amazing family, podcast, Turning Point USA, all that stuff. And so you experience that and you're like, what actually matters? What matters is your relationship with the divine, your relationship with your family, your kids, and maybe a close collection of friends, and your relationship with the truth.
I have to stop it over here because this is exactly where we have to continue the conversation. These are very simple, straightforward, logical, common sense statements. What has been a narrative in this country is to rip apart family. What has been a narrative in this country has been to rip apart religion or belief, faith. And then we have the third part, which is truth. People don't want you to speak truth. Truth makes people uncomfortable. Truth makes assassinations like yesterday happen against Charlie Kirk. People don't want to hear the truth. They would just want to be told something, what they want to hear. This is where we need to rise up. We need to come together. We need to find all the courage within to bring back these proper values in life that are so important. Was this guy really an enemy of whatever political side, of whatever political beliefs you might have? Or was he just trying to make the world a more safe place, peaceful place, happy place, a better place? We can have our difference in opinion, but overall, when we think logically with common sense, I don't think what he stood for was so wrong or so bad. The only thing that happened was that he got, let's call it maybe some lunatics, to go at him, and they just didn't know how to debate. I had the situation happen. I live here by a new building built in Hollywood, and I debated with some people, and the only thing that they want to spew on you is hatred and divide. The flag that I have right here behind me is very important to me. I'm an American citizen now, but I came as a legal immigrant. It's another conversation that Charlie Kirk had with many, many people. It's a controversial topic. It shouldn't be. His morals, his values, his beliefs, and everything that he stood for is very, very admirable.
And you could decide to lie all the time, then you become a tortured individual. And you know those people. You just turn on television. They're constantly lying and they just become like disfigured, either emotionally, spiritually, or physically. Because when you lie, I believe you're actually committing suicide of the soul. I really believe it.
Are you a Christian?
Very, very much so.
Why is that exactly?
Jesus saved my life. I'm a sinner, gave my life to Christ, most important decision I ever made.
So you believe the Bible is real?
Yes, I believe the Bible is true and real. Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I could give you the technical answer. There's never been archaeological discovery that has contradicted the truth of the Bible. And then, of course, the wisdom. There's not a truth of the Bible that if you apply to your life does not improve dramatically. And then finally, we have the most accurate and transparent, historically robust account that one can have of the most important figure ever to live in the history of the world, Jesus of Nazareth. And the resurrection is the pinpoint of my belief that Jesus did rise from the grave so that we may live. And for those of you that have not given your life to Christ, I could tell you it is the most freeing, liberating thing that a human being can possibly do. The most important thing that you can do, which is to be born new into the kingdom of God.
And he is. For him, I believe he has now met his Savior and he is at peace. Now, we can have a short conversation where people are like, oh, that is a little too much for me, and I don't necessarily agree with this or that, but it's not even about agreeing, because this country is built, or the pillars, on Christianity. And people don't like that. They respect Judaism. They respect people that are of the Islam belief or any other. But then there's also a whole bunch of hypocrites. And this is something where I must call it out, because it's funny how people, this has nothing to do with like trying to like, oh, you got to like follow Jesus Christ now or anything like that. On the contrary, everyone must do what they believe is right. But as long as people have these three pillars, that is faith, whatever you think you should have or believe in, that is family and freedom. And he died with a shirt that said freedom on his chest, because he took his freedom to speak and he got silenced. But it's very funny how people scoff at religion or Christianity while actually leaning on the institutions of it. The US was built on Christian values, laws, ethics, and the whole framework of freedom that they brag about. Europe, the same thing. You think cathedrals, universities, even justice systems. So I know of some people that, you know, they don't believe in faith, but they feel entitled to reap the benefits of the institutions that are built upon it. That is not open-minded. It's hypocritical. You can't reject the foundation of that. And it's basically the saying, like, oh, I'm not religious, but my child goes to a Catholic school. Oh, I'm not religious, but that's just like, well, yeah, because it has better values, it has better morals. It is the Harvards or the Princetons that we all know so well that are built upon those values. So it's not something completely rare that he's talking about, or strange or disconnected. It does make sense, and it has standing, that the values, or let's say the foundations of the USA, mentioned it. They speak of a creator, nature's God, the first universities, etc. When we think about the calendar, it's a Gregorian calendar that we have, what the entire world basically runs on. It was created, I looked this up, by Pope Gregory the 13th. So you're not religious, but you send your kid to a religious school. You want the discipline, you want the value, you want the results, but you're not giving credit to the roots. It's like eating fruit next to a tree and spitting on that tree. That's basically the reality of it. But it's okay. Everyone can do and should do whatever they think is right. And I continue. The respect from the Vice President of the United States. It doesn't matter if you like or dislike him, but the respect and honor he gives Charlie Kirk to be brought back on Air Force Two is probably unheard of. The pain in this video, the pain in the heart of his wife, of his kids, is something that honestly no one should ever witness, endure. No one deserves this. I don't care who you are. Perhaps criminals. I'm not opposed to a death penalty for criminals that commit death. People speak so loudly about justice. Where is the justice? This has been incited by a rhetoric. I don't call it sane, call it insanity. But again, I don't want to get too political in it. This is a conversation, or a stream, or whatever you want to call it, to honor Charlie Kirk. And I'm just going to show you guys real quick a couple things on Facebook. I'm just going to read this out loud because we're honoring this guy. We'll have a couple talks about certain points later. Every one of us at Turning Point USA, the company that he built, he's the co-founder of it, is crushed, devastated by the hateful murder of our founder and guiding light, Charlie Kirk. All of us have lost a leader, a mentor, and a friend. Above all, our hearts are with Erica and their 2 children. Charlie was the ideal husband and the perfect father. Above all else, we ask you to pray for the Kirks after the incomprehensible loss that they have suffered. More than anyone, Charlie believed in the power of argument and good faith debate to find the truth and to guide people towards, if not agreement, then at least mutual understanding. Charlie was no stranger to threats. He received thousands throughout his life, but he always prioritized reaching as many young Americans as possible over his own personal safety. This is admirable. This is courage. This is bravery. How many people do you know put themselves in danger like that? Now, Charlie has become America's greatest martyr to the freedom of speech he so adored. I see protests and I see all these rallies. I see Instagram videos. I see TikToks, etc. Everyone screams so loudly about their freedom of speech, but there is a little something to say about inciting violence, death threats. People should be held accountable. You take responsibility when you practice that freedom of speech. In his 31 years, Charlie lived more than any of us will in 100. He had an overwhelming passion for life and a deep belief in his power as an individual to make a difference. That is why we're here. It doesn't matter if one person will ever see this or a million people will see this, but it is the point to move forward and make a difference in this world, in this country. You have to have proper belief. You have to have passion. There is a fire in every one of us, but we've been so, like I said already before, desensitized. We have these caps on our eyes like horses, 9 to 5, and just do this, and we don't stand for anything anymore. Doesn't matter. You like blue, you like red. Okay, cool. Stand for it. Sit together at the dinner table. Have important conversations. Speak of values, of morals. Speak about love. With the spirit of a pioneer, Charlie launched Turning Point out of his parents' garage as an 18-year-old with no money. No name recognition, only a dream. His energy and drive were awe-inspiring, without equal, and deeply infectious. Charlie refused to squander a single day of his life. He was a natural builder, a problem solver who loved the challenge and saw every setback as a chance to learn, grow, pray, try again. He was fundamentally decent, always eager to make new friends and allies and to support and defend the ones he had already made. His values were timeless American ones: honesty, forthrightness, duty, loyalty, and fair play. And it is with these values, timeless values, that I feel so strongly about, I feel so on fire about, because people don't have values anymore. People are laughing about the death of someone being assassinated on a college campus in front of the eyes of the children or their wife. This is why we need to keep speaking up. This is why we need to practice our passions, our purpose. That's why we need to instill values onto others. Charlie loved America, its people, its Constitution, its freedom, and the limitless good all of them have done for the world. I believe in the exact same things. This country has given me more than I could ever dream of. And the journey continues. But above all, Charlie lived every day with an overflowing love of the Christ he knew he would one day get to see. When asked, Charlie said that above all, he wished to be remembered for his faith. Far more than any political victory, Charlie wanted to see a spiritual revival among America's youth. And this has happened. If you agree with it or not, this has happened. People have come together. We did not get any riots today. We got prayers and respectful wakes. People got together and prayed for him. They respected him because that's what he stood for. That's what he believed in. He wanted a nation of happy, thriving families who loved God and each other. At his final public speech, just days before his murder, Charlie witnessed to Christ to an audience of non-believers. And even in his last moments, Charlie was professing the gospel. He ran his race well all the way to the end. Now he goes to his heavenly reward. Although Charlie's gone, his legacy will, without a doubt, endure. He shall not grow old, age shall not worry him. For all time, he will remain the brave young man who inspired tens of millions of Americans to better themselves and take action to better America. All of us will miss Charlie, and none of us will ever forget him. It's a movement he started at 18 years old. He died yesterday at 31 years old. Undivided conviction, undivided courage, bravery. I don't know how he did it, but he said he walked with God and it gave him all the strength and power he needed to. I respect that. The good and bad, he wanted to open conversations with. J.K. Rowling wrote the following: if you believe free speech is for you, but not for your political opponents, you're a liberal. No contrary evidence could change your beliefs, you're a fundamentalist. If you believe the state should punish those with contrary views, and this is exactly where we're at, you're a totalitarian. If you believe political opponents should be punished with violence or death, you're a terrorist. And we have a lot of political terrorism in this country. We can have agreements and we can have disagreements. Agreeing to disagree. But what happened yesterday is way and way and way beyond the scope of normality, beyond the scope of sanity. He speaks of a topic over here that I feel very strongly about, and some people are gonna hate on it. But listen, just listen to actually the things that he has to say.
What a beautiful kid that is.
Thank you.
What a gift from God.
Much. She truly is. She is the biggest blessing. Something that kind of has me like on the fence of whether or not I go kind of like full blown more like conservative or moderate is just seeing her.
Give it up. That is a gift from the Lord, everybody. That's beautiful.
I can only say one thing already, and this is the celebration of life. Yeah, I celebrate life like not many others. And when you see a young child born, or you see a young baby 2, 3 years old, or you see a person in their 20s and 30s living their life happy, how they're supposed to, that's a gift. It's a gift. And living it fully, that's something that not everyone gets. This goes further.
That, we're starting to save a lot of money from things such as like Doge, but do you think that some of that money should go back to maybe like reforming the way that welfare is done to help poor families who do want to kind of pursue that American dream?
Great question. The number one objective of any
one important part that the girl said over here, the lady with the beautiful little child, American dream. When was the last time you heard people in politics over the last couple of years, apart from probably the president currently? When did you hear the last time about the American dream? Why did people come here 10, 15, 20 years ago? The people that I went to school with over here in America, why did I come here? It's because of the American dream. It's because of this flag. It's because of the opportunity that this country can give you that no other country can ever give you. And here's a young lady with a child speaking about a very important topic. And again, like he always does, or like he always did, very well versed, really knowledgeable, and caught up with the current situations at hand. I continue.
social welfare program should be, how do we keep the family together and put dads back in the family?
How do we keep the family together? Because everything is based on divide. Oh, you should be a woman achieving to be a CEO or achieve some kind of career. No one speaks about, becoming an amazing mom anymore, or have a wholesome relationship. I deal with people on a pretty much daily basis, And oftentimes it's the discrepancies, let's call it that, in relationships, in marriage. And this is from both sides, the male, the female, from the husband and the wives. And one thing that is, well, people are not going to agree, but unfortunately, the traditions from back in the day were a whole lot better than the situations we're in this day and age. The man protects, provides. The woman makes sure that there's a home, the kids are taken care of. And this has nothing to do with saying women cannot do something. No. But that is what feminism nowadays has brought upon us. And I know I'm going to get hate for it, but it is the reality. It is the divide of the traditional family. Let's continue. We'll chat about this.
Unfortunately, in the Black community, dads are the most absent of any community. About 2/3 of all Black youth will be raised without a stable father around. And I know it's crazy, right?
That is crazy. It doesn't matter which community, but when there's no father around, you have a broken family. When there's no mother around, you have a broken family. And here, an assassination cost another broken family. Where does the problem lie? With weakness. Weak men create challenging times. Challenging times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. People don't carry, or how should I say, they don't feel responsible anymore nowadays to take responsibility. You should take responsibility of your actions, but people rather feel entitlement. Let's continue for a second.
And that little precious angel of yours deserves to have a father around. And unfortunately, as we remove dads from families, government has come in and has taken the place.
And this is the problem. People speak so heavily about, well, we need help and this and that. The government does want to control you. What Charlie always stood for was small government, traditional families, and everything that's associated with that. But when I go on social media and I hear about these crusaders, these entitled individuals, it doesn't matter if it's male or female. I don't see chivalrous men anymore. The best example is basically when I would go to the gym a couple of years ago, and I would still always hold the door for a stranger, a lady, because that's just what you do. Chivalry is dead, a lot of people say. Well, why don't we hold each other to a higher standard? Well, then we get the argument, I don't need a man to hold the door for me. Yes, I know. Everyone can do that themselves. And this is going to be a debate back and forth. And I am not knowledge enough, nor is my vocabulary large enough, nor is my diction good enough to explain everything to you. But Charlie's diction, explanations, argumentations were top notch. And I do think that a lot of speeches of his should go down in history, should go and should be remembered about particular topics. Kids, the younger generation nowadays, can learn a lot more from Charlie Kirk than they can in school in 2 or 4 years. Of course, there's the basic education, but it's not about education anymore. It's more about control.
So some people need help and they need social assistance. All of that should be about incentivizing the dad staying around, not the dad leaving. The Democrat Party does not talk about dads at all. The Republican Party, we are talking about how men need to be men again, in the home, take responsibility, provide for your family, and with strong families comes smaller government and a better country.
Very simple. Very, very, very simple. This is secretly what a lot of people want. But this is going to get political, but oh well. The left does not promote that. They see whatever Charlie Kirk stood for, they see it as danger. And that's why he got eliminated. Because people would really understand and stand with the things that he spoke of. How wholesome is it to see a happy family with children? There is nothing better. There's no money in the world that I would trade for to see something like that. But people still think, and they have this belief, that some sort of monetary value or some sort of label is a bigger achievement than bringing the gift of life to this planet. I call that insanity. But we have been so deconstructed through social media, through narrative, etc., that it's okay to be single forever. Everyone desires to be together with someone. Everyone, every single person on this planet seeks to belong. This can be anything. Seeks to belong in the arms of their spouse. They seek to belong to some sort of hobby club. People want to be recognized in some form, some way. People want to be loved.
And I can tell you, I'm super blessed. I have the best wife in the world. We have an amazing life. Building a family is the coolest thing ever. And my prayer for all of you is that you one day can do that.
That's so cute.
It's honestly the most joyful thing. And I've had some pretty amazing experiences. I've been very, very blessed, very lucky, you could say, but very blessed is the word I would use. And the greatest joy I've ever had is coming home to my little daughter running up to my leg. There's nothing that even comes close to it. Not flying on Air Force One, not meeting with presidents. That pales in comparison to your little girl coming up and squeezing your leg.
How can you argue against that? You're sitting in a room with women over here talking about feminism, emancipation, and all these kind of things. And again, yeah, I'll get hatred. I really don't care. But it's the simple things in life that are so much more important. That is what we need to push forward. That's what we need to speak of. But one thing that couldn't go unnoticed over here in this particular video is that you felt the ahs, didn't you?
Amazing life.
Didn't you hear
Building a
them?
family is the coolest thing ever. And
Building a family is the coolest thing ever. I ask you one time, when have you heard a person from the left say these lines?
And my prayer for all of you is that you one day can do that.
That's so cute.
That is so cute. It is cute. It's amazing. It's love. It's precious. Why do we hate on this? That is the question you should ask yourself. Stephen A. Smith, a little bit more outspoken.
I'm a black man born in America. I know what problems that exist in this country. But I also know there's far more good people than there are bad people in this country, regardless of who you are, what your ethnic background is. White, black, Hispanic, and beyond. I'm in a studio here in Las Vegas, and I'm looking outside, and I see people looking at me and smiling and saying, "What's up, Stephen?" They don't look anything like me. And I don't care, because they're showing me love, and I'm showing love right back to them. At some point in time, we got to recognize, can't just speak about it. They can't just give lip service to when such a vile act takes place. We're going to give lip service to the tragedy of the moment, and then within 24 hours, we move on with our lives like nothing happened. Something happened. Who cares what his political beliefs were? I don't care what he felt. I care about the fact that a man was gunned down in front of two of his children who are 5 years of age or less. That he's dead at the age of 31. That his wife is a widow. That his children are fatherless. Because his ideas and his beliefs differed from somebody else, apparently. And then I'm going online and I'm seeing people celebrating it. Shame. Shame on you.
Exactly that. Shame on all those individuals. But where does it come from? You can't only blame the person directly. A lot of them don't know any better. This comes from multiple different situations, reasons. Number one is parenting. Parenting nowadays has completely changed compared to 10, 20, or even 50 years ago. Now it's like you don't need a father. Fatherless lives and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, that's great. You need both. You need both parents in there in your lives. And sometimes you come from a broken family, but you still come out with proper morals and values because there was still plenty of love. Sometimes you come out of something that some people can describe. I have a very good friend that I cannot describe why he turned out so positive with the broken family that he came from. Maybe one of the reasons is because he had belief. He knew what was right. He knew what was wrong. But in this entitled day and age that we are right now, there is no parenting. There's just the fake, the belief that there's some government, some party, some society, whatever you want to call it, that thinks alike, that has your back. No, they don't have your back. They do not have your back. People will turn their back so fast on you. You have no idea. I will make an example. How long have we heard about we should be solidary with Ukraine? We should send money, Slava Ukraine, and all these kind of things. Support them. Yes, yes, take them into the country, etc. Until a couple days ago, a young Ukrainian girl was murdered in broad daylight on a bus. Well, people around her did nothing. Help until it's on your doorstep. That's how it feels a lot of times. Everyone speaks about, we must do this, we must do that. We need to help here, we need to help there. Start. Take initiative, take action, and do it. It's very simple. Nike did it first. Just do it. That's why I'm sitting here. I've procrastinated this for years. I made an episode or two a long, long time ago. Then I got scared. Then I got insecure. Why am I doing this? What are people going to think? What are they going to say? But I always believed, I always had passion. Passion for timeless obsession. And my timeless obsession is to continue to spread the good word and to stand for something, to make people uncomfortable. What do I mean by that? Is to have the proper conversations. The conversations that a lot of people don't want to talk about. They'd rather continue scrolling. They'd rather not speak about it. Oh, it will go away in a few days. I can tell you one thing. This will not go away because Charlie Kirk has moved more than just a couple people that are part of a political party. Just 6 days ago, or a little bit more, on his first visit to South Korea, Charlie Kirk delivered a message that deeply moved the Korean people, and not only the Korean people. I've gotten messages from a couple of friends, acquaintances from the Netherlands, from Belgium, and like I said earlier today, they have zero association with anything related to politics. They are perhaps on the complete opposite spectrum of Charlie Kirk, but they did not sleep last night. They did not continue with their day normally when they woke up to this tragic news. They felt broken. They felt a piece got ripped out of their hearts. And we lost someone, something very dear to us.
Thank you so much for welcoming me to your incredible country. I've been here very long. I can tell you have so much to be proud of. This morning, I got up quite early and walked the streets of your city alone. I didn't even have to think about where I was going because anywhere I went, I knew it would be perfectly clean and safe. A lot of American cities are not like that. You needed to keep Seoul clean and orderly. When I started Turning Point USA 13.
I'm going to stop this right here because it's a very long speech. But what you could see in the beginning is the people that stood for him, the millions of people he has touched, the hearts he touched is unbelievable. It's like I said, it's not only in the USA. It's not just a couple of college campuses. It is being downplayed by media. It is being made fun of and scoffed at by media. And the truth is, he has done a lot more for the good of this world than anyone else that I could ever imagine or remember. We know the Martin Luther Kings of the world that stood for something, the Malcolm X's, the Abe Lincolns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of these people were hated because a lot of these people also spoke truth. They spoke about topics that some people didn't want to hear about, and it made them uncomfortable. And this is the conversation again that we must have, that we must continue. Even from a show that has a lot to say, but they practice, just like Charlie Kirk did, their freedom of speech fully. And here, I'm just going to play it. I don't condone the violence that they sometimes speak of, or the radical nonsense sometimes that comes from some of these speakers, and that's okay. That is just my disagreement with them, and I don't need to watch the show. Just like anyone over here does not need to watch me rant or babble about honoring Charlie Kirk and what he stood for.
I hope it doesn't have a chilling effect, whether you're left or right on your ability to speak your mind. I know the one thing we all agree about on this table, we all share our viewpoints, and we should be able to do that without fear.
Well, that's our bread and butter here. So, of course, it's very important to agree with everything.
Well, and also, although we don't all align with his views, what I deeply aligned with was he said, when we stop talking, that's when things get bad. The irony of a man who would go across the country to college campuses, that's the pinnacle of thought differences. It's where you're supposed to have conversations, would go, and his series was called Prove Me Wrong. He would talk to people openly who disagreed. It's what we try to exemplify every day and say, this is what we need more of. So the irony of being violently killed while saying those words of what we need more of in this country, I know all of us agree on that part, as there's never a place for political violence.
Even though that I think this is trying to clean up their act a little bit and score some positive points to come out, positively for a higher viewership. It's just my opinion on it. I think a lot of people do actually share that opinion. It is absolutely true what these ladies are talking about, and that should definitely be respected. And this is, again, at the same time, the beauty about it. He gets made out to be some kind of right-wing activist, while Charlie Kirk was actually pretty much a moderate. It's just, I believe that the spectrum of the left has gotten so extreme and so woke that anything that you say that is somewhat moderate becomes something from the right, extremism, and all that kind of stuff associated. But this was actually something pleasant to hear and something important that got shared, because we must come together. We must keep the number one, the very First Amendment, very much alive. And it did not feel that way yesterday. It felt like the following.
To me, it kind of feels like, I said this to Theo too, it's like somebody put the Constitution up on a wall and shot the First Amendment. I mean, people who marry my partner, she's very much, she's never met him.
Yeah.
And I think maybe something extraordinary is going to happen
I think so too. I think that something very extraordinary is already happening. That's exactly why I'm live over here with I don't know how many people. Something is not working exactly. It doesn't matter. Some people will see this, but something very extraordinary is already happening. And this is the most important part. The very first amendment feels like it got shot. And just like he says that his spouse, his partner, feels very emotional about this, just like many millions of people feel extremely emotional about this, just like myself, just like many friends, associates, acquaintances, business partners, etc. They feel very emotional because something bigger has happened than just some sort of political assassination and some sort of political terrorist attack. It feels like our rights are under attack of every single American, of every single person in the world. We already know that there's different countries. God forbid you would post something on Twitter, on X, or anything like that, you will go to jail. This is not some nonsense. These are facts. Again, we must continue the conversation. No one is more hated than he who speaks truth. And a lot of people have a hard time processing what has happened over the last couple of hours, the last 24 or hours. People don't know where to go with their feelings, with their emotions. And that's why it's important to have a support group of family, a support group of friends, not social media outlets, not the doom scrolling that is just going to cause more chaos, dopamine killers. This is not going to get any kind of positive outcome for you. You must chat with people. You must sit together with perhaps like-minded people. Even if you disagree about everything, you got to get together. You need a support team. I have a couple more little things that I would like to share. And one thing that I said earlier, that is that he felt like he was a modern founding father. He was from our generation, our James Madison. He was our Thomas Jefferson, our Alexander Hamilton, our Benjamin Franklin. And I absolutely believe that he would become president one day because he was liked in a bipartisan way. He was liked by the left and the right. People could have the proper conversations. He was liked by many, many people, even if people did not see it this way. Even if the narrative pushed by the left-wing media was vile, was violent, was negative. Rob Schneider wrote, I ask all Americans to dig deep, listen, debate, treat others how you would want to be treated, and bring out your inner Charlie Kirk.
What advice do you have for me as I move into adulthood in order to become a more informed and involved citizen?
Well, first of all, thank you for being here. And I have thanks to people like you. How old are you again?
13.
13. Here's a couple things I want to encourage you to do. Learn something new every single day. And focus on what it means to be a good person and a person of strong character. Aristotle said that courage is the ultimate virtue. Without it, there are no other virtues. If people aren't courageous, you don't have honesty, you don't have justice, you don't have beauty, you don't have wonder. And so at age 13, I want you to commit yourself to a life of courage. Courage is doing the right thing when you don't know how it's going to work out. Courage is committing yourself to the correct course of action, regardless of the cost associated to it. Every human being, I believe, is made in the image of the divine, is sacred, is unique, and if we get away from this principle as we have, we not only have moral degradation, we not only have the collapsing society around us, but it's bad for that being itself. That being itself is unique. That being has rights, and who are we to say, just because we're older, that we get to murder it? Thank you.
How do you not feel something in this situation? How can you continue living? How can you not have a sudden fearless drive full of courage, ambition, passion, power, even with uncertainty? You don't know what tomorrow brings. But why do people not live their life to the fullest of their capabilities? After you see a video like this, after you see this is bigger than anything that anyone can imagine. Look at the people that have gotten together. The respect these people bring. I don't want to spew any negativity. I don't want to spew anything sad anymore. But this is very important too. People love or hate him, it doesn't matter. Our time on this planet is extremely limited. We don't know what tomorrow brings. We procrastinate so much, it is ridiculous to put into words. We always try to tie everything together, prepare so much. Oh, it has to be perfect until we start doing something. And then suddenly 10 years go by. And then suddenly 20 years go by. And then suddenly the moment has come where I wish I would have. I wish I would have done that. We're going to do this. And suddenly that moment is not possible anymore. It doesn't matter what it is. But don't put things out in time because you are uncomfortable, because you're not ready, because you need to prepare for certain things more. Do it. Without fear. Fail. Fail again. Fail over and over and over. These are the biggest and the most important lessons in life. Put your ego to the side because that's the only thing that's in the way. Stop being patient and start asking yourself, how can I accomplish my 10-year plan in 6 months? This sounds crazy to most people, but this is exactly the point. You will probably fail over and over, but you'll be far ahead of the person who simply accepted it take 10 years. I have no idea what I will achieve with this. I do know one thing that I have tried to move people, move lives, move hearts, move emotions. And I stood one time, I have to just tell this story real quick, in a room with approximately 150 people in Germany. And this was because of a hobby I'm passionate about. And suddenly this escalated into something a little bigger than just a little hobby that I like to talk about. And my wife was there too. And it was probably one of the most important days in my life. What I've heard, the stories I've heard of people, and I'm very, very far from being experienced with taking in certain stories that I've heard. But I was a sponge to nearly 150 people when they stood in line to take a picture with me. I didn't know that that was going to happen, but they didn't want to take a picture necessarily. Every single person wanted to be heard. And I had heard the worst of this world. I've heard stories that I will never be able to recite or repeat. I heard stories that I will never be able to comprehend. I heard stories from people that are dealing with real situations in lives that have completely shaken me and have made me a different person since that day. How do you deal with that? You just do it. But then there's the part that I want to continue sharing and why this is all so important to me. And especially, and I don't want to just bring this, this had to happen for me to finally move. There's always a moment in life where someone gets a nudge, a little push. I do this with people too. Everyone needs a little, come on, just do it. A little push not off the cliff, but you know, when you want to jump into a pool, just go for it. It's not that scary. Fear is just what you make up into your own mind. Fear is just your own beliefs going completely berserk. Taking an extra minute, taking extra time before you take the plunge, before you take the jump, is not going to make it any better. It's not going to make the water any warmer. Just do it. Just go for it. Just stand for something. And again, like I said, in this room with all these people, that moment in time, a lot of things changed. And I didn't know where to go with all these emotions, feelings. But I believe I have an idea. I believe something like this might be the answer. Because over the last couple of years after this event, I've definitely, I could say, helped some people. And it's not, the point is, this is not about me. This is about the people. This is about everyone getting together, all the courage, and asking for help. Asking the right questions. Asking any questions, to be honest. There's no wrong question. The day continues. The sun will rise again. It's a sad day and it will be a very, very sad time. But I hope we can all find positivity again at some point. I hope we can all find happiness within each other again at some point. And I hope that at a certain point, we will have a total different climate in this, not just only in this country, but in the world, where people can bring out a little bit of their Charlie Kirk. Get that bravery in check. Get that courage in check. Stand for something. Just go for it. It doesn't matter what people think of you. People are so, I don't want to say obsessed, but they're so wary about someone else's opinion. It is none of my business what someone else might think of me, or what I do, or what I stand for. The only thing I can say is I hope this helps at least one person. I will try to do this again in a similar form, and I hope to have a dialogue with people. But for now, good night, and I wish every single person only the very best. and to really start living life.